like the ocean, love you in slow motion. Anything it takes to make you stay, but I can't rely on you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to This Is It, Straight Talk for the Blaxit community. I'm your host, Devin Austin, aka Divine Miss D, and I'm here every Saturday afternoon from 12 noon to 1 p.m. right here on Blaxit Radio. Today we have a very special guest for you, and her name is Marilyn Peoples. Marilyn and I have been friends for some time now, and she has a love for international travel, especially between Costa Rica and Mexico. So I thought it would be interesting to sit down and chat with her and get her perspective on each country. And I call this one Torn Between Two Lovers. With all that said, and without further ado, let's welcome Marilyn to the show. Welcome, Marilyn.
Hi, Devin. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Well, I'm so glad you agreed to join us today, because I've got all these questions for you regarding why you don't decide to just live in Costa Rica. But anyway, I'm gonna let you tell us why. But I thought I'd start out I'm gonna go back to the beginning and just start out with, maybe you could just introduce yourself to our audience, tell us a little bit about your background and your occupation and your life in the States.
Okay. So prior to retirement, I've had several careers, but 35 of those years were spent in the film industry as a makeup artist. I've worked with, all the usual suspects. Film, television, soap operas. I started when I was 26 years old, and I said it was a 35-year career. And when you're young, everything is exciting. However, my last 2 years of working, we worked. Okay, so when a film company comes to New York, they're coming to shoot outside. So the last 2 years of my employment was on a TV series, and we spent 14 hours shooting outside in a blizzard.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And that's normal. And so that was 1 year. And then the last year, it was the same thing. It was a winter project in New York. It was a blizzard. It's cold. When you're 65, it ain't cute, it ain't entertaining, and you want the young ones to do it. And I booked, I left. It's like, I can't.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you were doing all of your work in New York and your makeup artistry and all of that, did you have an opportunity to travel at all when you were doing that, or were you mostly spending most of your time just in New York?
Okay, in terms of traveling at that time was mostly vacations. So I did what I call palm tree assessment, which means you go to Jamaica, you go to the Caribbean, you go to the islands, beach. To me, one palm tree looks like the next palm tree. And so that's what my travel was like when I was working. However, while I was working, I had two pertinent events. The first one was I had a client on a soap opera that I was working, and I was doing his makeup this particular day. He said, "This is my last week of work." And it was like, "Oh, what are you planning on doing?" And, he told me, "I'm moving to Costa Rica." And it was like, Costa Rica? It was like, because at that time, everybody was going to Florida. I never heard of no Costa Rica.
I know.
So I said, well, the question, why Costa Rica? And of course, he rambled off everything that we know about Costa Rica, because it's still what attracts many of us. We love the biodiversity. We love that it has not had an army since 1948 and has found other things to do with that money than kill people. And and the weather, the climate. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I said, good luck with that. Enjoy your retirement. The second event was I was working on a TV show called In the Heat of the Night. We shot in a small town outside of Atlanta called Covington. And during my time there, I was with the show for 7 years. I wore my winter coat, my heavy winter coat, 1 week for 7 years. I mean, in terms of the winters there, in January. That was the only time I ever wore a winter coat. And that was again in Atlanta. And I was like, this is great. When it's time to retire, I'm going to Atlanta. Okay, so that puts me into these two favorite places of mine. Okay, so when I did retire, I retired actually in 2015. I took my first trip to Costa Rica, stayed in Guanacaste, and I was there my trip was for 10 days, and I spent 5 days at this hotel, and then I had made a reservation at this bed and breakfast, a little bed and breakfast, known as La Terraza. So I had made my arrangements there for the remainder of my trip. Janetta Owens and her driver, Geraldo, came down to the hotel and picked me up. And so we drove back to La Terraza. So that was...
Now, when you came to Costa Rica that first time and you were started off in Guanacaste, were you just coming to Costa Rica basically because the guy had told you so many things about Costa Rica and you thought you just wanted to come and visit? Or,
yes.
Or did you have another? Okay, so you weren't really thinking about retiring at that point.
No, it was just a visit.
A visit, okay.
A visit. I had always thought, ever since I was like a little kid, that I don't have to live in this country that I was born in. Wow. So I've never felt that, I have to be in the States.
Right.
And because my client had put this other stuff in my head about that are so attractive, it's like, just let me go. It was just, to rest, because it was at the hotel.
Right.
Then, because I did want to spend more time in Costa Rica, I had made the reservations, unbeknownst to me how important that place, La Terraza, would become.
Right, exactly.
Just as an extension of my vacation. But when I left La Terraza, I wept.
Oh.
It was like, oh my God. It was like, I just wept. And yeah, so that's what happened with my first visit to La Terraza.
Okay, so now were you already retired at this point in time?
I don't remember, Devin. I think this trip actually was pre-retirement, but only by maybe a year.
About a year, okay.
Year or so.
So you went back to the States, you're in Atlanta now, right?
So when I actually retired, I saw this little house, because I had written down what I wanted as a place to live. And I knew I was going to leave New York. So I wrote down all the things I wanted. I'm looking on Zillow and I saw this little house that had everything I said I wanted. And I put a deposit on it. I didn't even see the house, Devin, in person until maybe the month before I was supposed to close on it.
Wow.
It was in Atlanta. So again, those are the two places that have been on my radar for a very long time.
Okay, so you're in New York. You're still in New York and you find a place in Atlanta.
Yes.
That you had never seen before.
That is correct.
You just decided to buy
it. Well, okay. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then you retired. Now, did you go back to Costa Rica anymore between the time that you were in New York and the time that you moved to Atlanta?
Oh, let me see, because they were so, okay, okay. I closed on the house. I closed on the house in, I believe it was June. I think it was June. And I went back to Costa Rica in July.
Oh.
Because I think that's the trip where I met you.
I think so too, because it was 2015.
It was, yes, and that was the trip where I met you at that place.
Wow. So, but I thought, when I met you, you had already come to Costa Rica on several occasions prior, but maybe
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I may have like stuck in maybe one trip.
Right. Well, I know you liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were really impressed with it,
yeah.
which made us
Yeah.
even more impressed with it too.
Yeah.
So now, after that trip, how many more trips have you made to Costa Rica?
Ooh, I've lost track.
You've lost
because
track.
I have told Janetta that I had been to Jamaica 7 times just because I like Jamaica. And if I find a place that makes me happy and I feel safe and comfortable and it gives me what I want, I go back.
Right.
So I told Janetta that I had been to Jamaica, which I had been to Jamaica 7 times. So I said, Costa Rica's got to at least, be equivalent in terms of visiting.
Right.
So I know I've been to Costa Rica more than 7 times.
So now, what areas in Costa Rica have you been to? Guanacaste, okay. La Terrazas and Gracia.
Yes.
So where else have you been?
Okay. La Terraza and Gracia. I went to Atenas. Usually I stay when I'm experimenting or even just traveling. I stay for at least a month.
Okay, so tell me how you liked Atenas.
Okay, so they say Atenas has the best weather in the world or in Costa Rica. It's a lie. No, it's written. What is that? I'm hearing bells.
Oh, that's my. It's on my side. Notification on my side. Keep going. Just ignore it.
So, so I went to Atenas because they say it's got this great weather, and in my opinion, it does not. And how it got this reputation is that in this particular site, maybe the centro of Atenas, someone has written on this huge stone, Atenas, the best weather in whatever it says. I can't say if it's
and that's stuck.
So whoever was writing this article saw this in the stone.
Oh.
And perpetuating it ever since.
That's how the rumor began.
How it began, because it's not bad, but the location of La Terraza, I believe, is 33,000 feet. Is it?
Yeah.
I have it on my phone because I was so impressed with it. I Googled it and it said what the elevation was. To me, that
3,300, I think.
3,300.
Or is it 33,000? 4,200. 3,200, I think, maybe.
But to me, I love that. I love the weather that we experienced at La Terraza.
Yeah, they have great. That's a great place. They have really good weather there, and I know it is hot in Atenas. That's one of the reasons why I'm not.
Yeah.
Plus, I think Gracia is has better access to different things. Just it's a different kind of city. I find Atenas is more of a go up in the mountains and kind of stay up there, and they're kind of separated up there.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of come into town. But I didn't really find that nothing against it or anything, but I just didn't find that the downtown area was very bustling.
No.
And it wasn't as easy to get around either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was in Atenas. I spent a month in San Ramon. And what I didn't like about San Ramon is that I needed to wear a sweater. I froze in San Ramon. I always pack one pair of sweat things, for it gets chilly at night. I lived in those items for a month.
Yeah, reminder of being back in New York, even though it was cold, yes. But still,
Yes,
it was Costa Rica to be in the cold.
Exactly. It was no, I'm not. This is not what. No, but by the same token, it was always a little overcast. I found the town had more things to do than Grecia.
Mm-hmm.
And where I lived, we were on this hillside where every morning we had rainbows. Every morning.
Wow.
And it inspired me to try to begin my attempts at painting.
Oh, I was going to say it's more of an artist
Yeah.
community, I think, over in San Ramon. Yeah.
Then, of course, I visited Limon. I was only in Limon for, no, I never stayed for a long period of time. I went to Limon to experience the dark side of the country, which is very different. And I hope no one gets offended at that. But I couldn't live there because I do have medical issues. And it's like,
right.
So.
Yeah, not good if you have medical issues. You need
not
to be
at all
to Centro.
Yeah. So, I mean, someone that wants to live there, they need to consider, well, we all should consider getting as healthy as possible. All of us, regardless of where we want to live.
True.
But if you want to live in that kind of place, you've got to be aware that you might have to amputate your own finger.
Also, it's a little hot over there as well, I found.
Yeah.
It can be rather humid and also I think it's not for people who can't handle bugs. I mean, there are bugs everywhere, but I think the indoor outdoor situation with the homes and everything make you you're going to be a little bit more subject to have the intrusion. Well, it's not intrusion because I guess Costa Rica belongs to the bugs, but you will be sharing everything with them.
And of course, I've spent some time in Escazú.
Escazú, yes.
For me, I love Grecia, and maybe this might be an interview you might do in the future. I found it's a great location for exploring for every place else around Costa Rica. But for me, I just needed more to do.
Right.
And maybe, like I said, as an interview you could do with other people. That's also my challenge with Costa Rica in general, is for me, I need things to do. And Costa Rica's beautiful. It's got the mountains, it's got the beaches, it's got the zip line, it's got San Jose if you need some culture.
Right.
But after that, I couldn't find stuff to do. Yeah. I am so envious of what you've put together, Devin, because you're doing stuff.
Well, too, I think, for Costa Rica, to me, for places to stay, I'm really happy that when we moved here, we moved to Grecia first, because it gave me an opportunity to experience more of the real Costa Rica, so to speak, with buses and more of a regular locals in town. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then moving to Escazú second was better because we'd already spent 4 years in Grecia. So I already had the feel of what it is to be in a local community, but then now I could move somewhere where I was going to be able to have access to more services.
Yes.
More services, not as many services as in a lot of other places, but for Costa Rica.
Absolutely.
Escazú offers a lot of services. So for that, I'm grateful. I would not have wanted to do it the other way around. I think I would have.
Oh, no.
That would have been too much culture shock for me. So you've been there, but Escazú. Okay, so then looks like you started. Is that when you started making your trips to Mexico? Looking for other things to do, or what got you started on Mexico?
That was your idea.
No, it wasn't.
No, actually, yes, it was.
Well, it was a trip. Was that the first time you went to Mexico when we went to Mexico?
No, the first time I went to Mexico actually was to visit my baby sister.
Right, because your sister was there. That's because you told me about it.
Yes.
Yes.
But I wasn't considering moving there.
No, you weren't. I remember.
At that time. Um,
But you said that town had everything. They had like
yes,
they posted
San Miguel
things to do and those kinds of things.
It's a very active town.
Yes, it is.
And
we should tell people the name of the town because we haven't said that.
Oh, San Miguel de Allende.
Wonderful little town.
It's a great town.
It is great.
Except now it's expensive.
Yes, it is. And
it's got some of those crime issues that concern us all,
right?
Unfortunately.
Okay, so with San Miguel de Allende, you went to see your sister, and you stayed for a while. Didn't you stay like at least a month?
For a month. I was there for a month.
1 month. Okay.
A
month there.
It was a month. And thank goodness I'm good being by myself, because after she was done having me as a guest, I never heard from her again. Like, okay. It's like, oh, some people don't travel well like that. But I.
Okay, so it was San Miguel de Allende, and then the next time you went, you went to San Miguel, and that's the only thing you did on that particular trip. You came back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then after that,
I came back to Costa Rica, in fact.
Came back to Costa Rica. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went back to Mexico again. Were you making Mexico like a yearly
No,
trip, like Costa Rica, or what?
No, not at all, Devin. I didn't go back to Mexico until you put that trip together.
Oh, okay. All right.
When we did all of those.
Right. But you stayed.
And I stayed.
We came back and we left you there. You stayed. And so then you stayed on one of the beaches.
Oh goodness. I've been so, was it Puerto Morelos?
Yes, I think it was Puerto Morelos.
I think it was Puerto Morelos.
Yes.
Because by the time I'll say we, in terms of the group, the trip that I did with you, I had started thinking possibly about Mexico. Possibly. Because of that, and also those YouTubers, Tangerine Travel.
Right. Alaska.
Yes, I love them. They were such a great couple.
I know, they're broken up now.
Yeah. So that's when I started to want to look at Mexico.
Ah, okay.
So let me see.
Puerto Morelos, and then the next time you went was Oaxaca?
I can give, okay. So when did I go back? Now I was in Puerto Morelos for a month, and I was dinner for every mosquito on the beach, and the no-see-ums. And I'm trying to figure out how to.
So is Puerto Morelos a no?
It's a no.
All right.
I should know. I'm gonna take that back. Nothing is a no with me, Devin.
Okay. I should know that by now.
You should know that by now. You know me, because I've loved every place I've been.
Did you ever do Cancun?
I did Cancun twice because I had a family situation there. So I did Cancun, and I did Playa del Carmen, which has a very large, youngish expat community. And I went to Puerto Morelos because it's right in the middle between Cancun and, oh my God, is it Cancun or Playa del Carmen? I think it's Playa del Carmen. And Puerto Morelos is right in the middle, but it hasn't gotten that tourist saturated vibe. So between the Tangerine Travels and what I discovered about it, and I really did like it, but it was really hot. Don't do Mexico in May after May. Between May and September, don't do. I mean, it's just hot.
Too hot, yeah.
It's just hot. And I've discovered I don't do heat well anymore.
Now, would you ever consider Cancun or no?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. I
don't think so. So what happened this past winter 2021, I spent the winter in Mexico, traveling around Mexico to get the beach thing out of my head. because people either love mountains or love beaches or they love cities. And so much of what people enjoy about Mexico is beach oriented that I said, okay, let me get this out of my head. Could I live at the beach? And so that's what I did. I went to beaches. Let's see, I went to Puerto Vallarta. And then I went to Bucerías. Why I went to Bucerías is because Bucerías is a town north of Puerto Vallarta. So I'm thinking it'll be Puerto Vallarta is just expensive.
Okay.
So I went to Bucerías because I thought, okay, it's north of Puerto Vallarta. It's probably going to be less expensive.
But no.
So it was okay. It was fine. And then I went to Mazatlan, also because it's a beach.
Okay.
And there's also a Black expat community there as well. And I wasn't impressed. I mean, if you're a beach girl, it's like, or a beach person, you feel compelled to be on the beach.
Right.
I had none of that. It was like, okay, the beach is there. But I wasn't compelled to be there. So I'm thinking I'm just not a beach person.
Right.
It would be a great place to invest, but I don't have to live there.
Right.
And then I went in November, which was the beginning of the winter trip, I went to Oaxaca because, again, it's one of those places that you're told you need to experience this city.
Right.
For the food and the culture and Dia de Muertos. So that's when I arrived in Oaxaca this past winter to experience Dia de Muertos.
Okay.
And I love Oaxaca. I'm saying that sounds like there's a but in there, and it really isn't.
Okay.
I love Oaxaca. It's exciting for me in terms of having things to do. It's got all kinds of things to do, especially if you're an artist or meditation. There's just stuff to do all over. Just walking the streets, the galleries. But I guess, if you're not that person, you could probably get bored with, okay, I don't need to see another art gallery. I don't need to see another, original textile. So I guess, there's that group of people that would say, okay, I'm done with Oaxaca.
Right, right.
But that's not me. I love Oaxaca. I love that city.
Oh boy.
But it's hot. Oh my God. I just came. Oh my God, Devin. Okay, I've discovered something about me. I've discovered this is my truth. I chase 70 temperature. I chase 70. I revel in 80, and I run from 90.
Well, listen, why didn't you ever try Guadalajara?
I visited Guadalajara for a minute. Yeah, I thought it was a busy. I'm not really a city person.
Yeah, it's pretty big too.
Ooh, girl. And I went kind of like on the ending-ish of the pandemic, and it was like, it was like New York's 34th Street. It's really? It was overwhelming for me. But I think that's where I visited Connie.
Right, right. So what about Mexico City then?
Mexico City, I had been in for an hour. Again, when you did the Mexico trip.
Right.
My concern there, I didn't spend a lot of time in Mexico City, is the pollution. I've got I have to breathe.
Right. Okay.
But I had a great time because that's when we went to Frida's house.
Right. Okay, so it looks like your favorite then is Oaxaca.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vicki Locke. I talked to her about Mexico, and it was Oaxaca for the win. So it looks like Oaxaca probably has like another vote as one of the best places.
I tried to hook up with Vicki. Vicki's down in Huatulco. But she was busy, and we just we'll get back together eventually.
It's
just a flight away.
Well, tell me this, between the two places, because I know you also like Costa Rica, but I mean, really, there's no reason why people can't be in love with two countries. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like rich people do it all the time. So there's not really a problem with that. But tell me what you think when you compare the two places, and this is not as far as liking the places, because they're really, you can like both places and they're actually completely different, except for the fact that they're not in the United States. They're completely different. But tell me a little bit about how you see the cost of living in both places, because people are always saying how much less expensive it is in Mexico than it is in Costa Rica. And I think the prices have been going up in Costa Rica as well.
Well, you sure you want me to talk about that?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Case in point. Okay. I'm a woman of a certain age. I went to see an American doctor about having some work done.
Oh. They do that kind of work in Costa Rica, though. Oh, did you compare?
Compared to the States, it was 10 grand. Mexico, 4,300.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I didn't get anything done because I've got some issues there too.
Right.
Most recently, I lost my very expensive Warby Parker prescription glasses with everything, anti-reflection, transition, all the bells and whistles. Those glasses cost me $450 in the States. I replaced them last week. I replaced them. I had lost them. Duplicated everything that my American prescription had, and got them the next day for $150.
Wow. Well, yeah.
So
yeah.
And then of course there's the restaurants are so much less expensive.
The food's great.
Food is great. Now
I
have to. There's a condition about the food in Oaxaca.
Oh, okay.
The condition is the food in Oaxaca is, I'll say 95% Oaxacan food. Mm-hmm. They are not meals we're familiar with.
Oh, okay. Mole
yes, it got to the point where, can I just have some broccoli with mashed potatoes and gravy?
Yeah, I hear you. Come to Escazú.
I know.
You won't get any mole.
I know, but that's okay. I can bring it with me, as you know. Okay. I know. But it's just, after you've experienced being a consumer in Mexico, it's like it just makes no sense to be in the States.
Right.
It just I just spent $100 grocery shopping, and I don't think I spent $100 a month.
The whole time, right?
The whole time I was in Mexico.
Yeah, it's.
Let me see, my landlord's utility bill, I think it was, oh my goodness, I should have done this for you, but it was something like $25 for a month.
Wow.
My utility bill is never less than $150 a month. So just in terms of living, right, what you need to live, there's just, you can't justify it.
Right.
You can't justify it.
Tell me a little bit too about residency, because I know that from what I understand, they've changed the requirements as far as allowing people 180 days? It
was 80 days, correct.
Yeah. And so now it's not like okay, so what I heard was you had to have a proof of how long you were going to stay at a particular place. And they would give you a stamp kind of based on that, because they're really promoting their residency now. So is that true or what?
part of what you're saying is true. Even if you have proof of how long you're staying, they don't have to give you that. I've heard of instances where people, they booked in hotels, and it's like they don't get the duration of the hotel stay. Wow. I've heard of that. I can't say how dominant that is as an event.
Right.
I can't address that at all, but I know, because I remember when my sister was moving to Mexico, and I was like, why? She had residency. She got permanent residency as soon as she arrived. This was 6 years ago. And I had said, and she sold everything in the States. And I said, why would you do that? I said, you could have come to Mexico, stayed for 180 days, get a feel for how you like it, and then make a decision.
Right.
Which at the time, 180 days was a given. So it made sense to put it off. Now it does not.
Doesn't anymore. Well, you have your residency though.
Yes, right. I have permanent residency. And wow. I got my permanent residency when I came to Oaxaca. So that was not October. Yes, the end of October.
How long does it take? How long's the process?
2 days.
2 days? You're kidding me. That's all?
Okay, let me give you the breakdown.
Wow. So
to apply for a Mexican residency, you begin the process in the United States. You fill out, there's applications that you fill out online, and you request an appointment at the consulate where you're going to submit your application. And it could be in any state. Now, again, this was last year. You did not have to file your application in your home state. You could have filed in the state that had the lowest income requirement.
Oh.
And at the time, the states, America, the consulates had different income requirements. So like Los Angeles may have been high. North Carolina would have been low. So if you didn't have enough income, you could go to the state that you would qualify in based on your income proof, which would be like your bank statements and that sort of thing. Right. For me, it was my pension documents. And I also took my bank statements just in case. And good thing I did, because she asked to see them. And it was not indicated as a requirement for my pension, for pensionado status. So it's a good thing I took them.
Wow. So how long is permanent residency for? I mean, is it really permanent for?
It's permanent. Oh, I'm sorry, Devin. So let me backtrack a little bit. So that's that paper process. Uh-huh. With your documentation and income proof takes place in the States. Once you enter Mexico, you have 30 days to exchange that documentation for your cards. There's a term for that I cannot remember right now. And what you do with that is that you have to write a letter telling why you are picking the city in Mexico that you are, because you have to declare where you want to live.
Right.
And it has to be done in Spanish. So you do that when you get into Mexico.
Wow.
So that's why I said it took 2 days, because it was my appointment day in the States and then my finalization day in Mexico. And it was 2 days.
Wow. So how expensive is it though? Just the whole filing? I mean, I'm comparing it to Costa Rica. It's a comparison.
I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I don't remember. But I don't remember.
Was it $2,000?
I doubt it. I would remember $2,000.
Okay.
I would, yeah, but it's nothing like the processing.
Okay.
You can actually be young and get
You don't have to wait until you're our age, right?
You don't have to. No, you'll start it when you're young in Costa Rica, and maybe by the
time you're our age, you have it.
Exactly. It was nothing like that, and I think that's the other reason I did it. It was so easy.
Wow.
And the way things are going in the States, you don't. I can book at any time.
Right. Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, so gee. Well, what's the next stop for you? What's next on your agenda? You just got back from Mexico, like last week.
Last week, yes. Okay, I am just okay. I'm thinking maybe right now. I really just want to sit down for a minute. I've also discovered that as much as I really want to be an expat, I really do. I think I'm just a snowbird.
Oh. When it's really convenient, huh?
Well, again, I've always had said it. I love spring and summer in the States, right. Especially Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, and like my birds are out front, my feeders are up. And I like that. I can say I love that.
Right.
But you know, and the sun goes down at 8:30.
Yes, we don't have that here.
Yeah, and you know, yeah.
Wow.
So my next stop, I'm trying to go to do a bucket list trip to the Serengeti to witness the migration.
Oh, nice.
That would be in August, but I have not made my reservation yet. Duh. But this winter, I'll be back in Costa Rica.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll be looking for you.
Yeah. You in June. I'm seeing you.
That's right. That's right. In a couple of weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Well, it'll be nice to catch up with you again in between stops here. But wow, it looks like you're having what they call a wonderful life. I mean, these are really the kinds of situations that people really long for, you know, when they retire, oftentimes, to be able to go to different places, make a bucket list, live here, live there. You know what I mean? I mean, that's really, that's really something. So you're very lucky to be able to do that. Because everyone can't. Yeah.
I'm very blessed. You know, even as we explore this expat life and things are like terrible in so many places, even for us as people of color, in a place that breaks our hearts every day, we can leave.
We can. Wow. Which is wonderful.
You know, we don't have to stay and be abused.
No, we don't. But we have to get out there. We have to really, you know, trust in just taking that step. Because I think what happens is people are just paralyzed a lot of times because it's the devil, you know.
Exactly.
Devil, you know.
Very, very true.
So sometimes we just have to step out and just trust, you know, that, because the thing about it is you don't ever have to stay anywhere. You know, if you go to Mexico or you go to Costa Rica or wherever you go and you don't like it, you can leave. Back. You know, you got that passport, that United States of America passport, and they'll let you back in. You know, you can go back. But you know, the thing about it too is I think even when people go places and they don't, maybe it isn't the right place for them, I think they still learn something from just having made the trip and having had the experience, because it's really funny. People can talk about how much they don't like some place. Then when they get back to the other place, they spend all their time talking about the place that they left, that they supposedly didn't like. Things kind of, when I was in such and such a place, we had this and we had that. So, you know,
I hope, well, there's one viewer I hope you don't have, and that's my recent travel companion. And I don't think she learned anything about Oaxaca.
Oh.
And
Well,
it was
maybe it just hasn't hit her yet. Or
I
maybe
was-
what she learned was she didn't need to be there.
now that's true. That's true. And the one thing I will say, Devin, about Costa Rica and is, again, as people of color, we have our history of how we've been treated, and
Right.
we need to leave that experience in the States
Behind us, right?
especially in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
because there's a YouTuber who has said anti-Blackness is everywhere, but it's not lethal only in the state, everywhere.
Right. So
it's like just leave, those negative expectations. If you're in the restaurant and you've been sitting there for 45 minutes and they ain't served you, it ain't personal.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
It ain't.
And I think I was going to ask you about parting words of wisdom, but I think, what you just said makes a lot of sense. And those are really great parting words to leave our audience with.
Yeah, leave it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it. And another thing that happened to me on one of my early trips to Costa Rica is I was walking down the street and someone said negrita. And of course, we're used to it being, what it is, the negative. And my host, she explained to me that in Costa Rican culture, it is a term of endearment. So we need to just leave our negative expectations at the airport of our departing city.
Right. That is so true. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I think those were great parting words. And I really want to thank you, Marilyn, for taking the time to chat with me today. I mean, we chat all the time, but we've never chatted like this before, huh? And I'll be looking forward to seeing you in the next few weeks.
Now, I don't have a return ticket,
Uh-oh. We'll talk.
All right.
Anyway, again, thank you so much for being with us today. And I wish you the best of luck, and looking forward to seeing you in the next few weeks.
See you soon.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn.
Thanks, Devin. Bye now.
Bye.
Sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah. I just can't accept you leaving